Well, hello. I got myself a couple of new knives from my man Tiguass. Well, I don't know if he was necessarily my man or not, but I've talked to him a time or two, and he seems like a nice enough guy. I've been experienced with them from a couple of Tucson knives. This is the TS211 and TS212. Both of these are titanium frame lock flippers. This one's in D2. This one's stonewashed 14C 28N. Absolutely love this 211, by the way. This thing is an absolute fantastic knife for the bigger hands out there. But a lot of his other designs, this one included, kind of cater a little bit to, more normal and smaller sized hands. So, yep, here we are. I'll go ahead and set those out of the way here. First one I have here is the Kubey Mizo, M-I-Z-O. This thing's relatively new as far as I'm aware. Front flipper, you can see. It's got tan G10. I got this one, well, I think they have tan and then brown, which is a little bit darker, and that was kind of it that I had at least seen. But I got this so I can probably try and do some RIT dye on it at some point. But yeah, we got some, it's basically flat slab, but we do have a little bit of milling for some crop circle-esque kind of things going on there. Yeah. Deep carry pocket clip on this guy in particular. We got some barrel spacers there. And a little lanyard punch through the middle of it there. And yeah, this guy is basically a top flipper and works pretty well if you're used to them. If you're not, they do require a bit of getting used to. You can also grab it from the top and rotate, but I don't find that on this thing anywhere near as comfortable as I do on... oh, where are they? Yes. Here we go. Something that's also kind of like that. These are double detent flippers, but these are YX designs, and the top flippers on those are a little bit easier to do, but it's still very much doable on here. But yeah, as long as you're aware of what's going on, then these things work out pretty well. You can accidentally flip this into your palm if you're holding it incorrectly, so you do want to watch out for that. But yes, this one, unlike this TS212 here, is a very slight drop point. Almost doesn't look like it, but you can see it does drop just a little tiny bit. We got that fuller there. Obviously, this is a much smaller blade. This is just right at 3, or maybe just a little touch over. But, yeah, when I first saw this, I was like, it's really too small, whatever. And then, I thought about it and figured I would try and pick it up. And amazingly, this is one of those knives that, even though it's kind of a smaller design, still full 4-finger grip sort of thing. I don't really have too much of a... there's not really too much variation between the saber grip and the hammer grip. You just basically where your thumb moves, because you don't have a whole lot of extra handle to change with that. But yeah, you can also reverse grip that. It's got a little bit of an area up there, but it's a little farther over for me to feel super secure backing that up with my thumbs. I don't necessarily know if I'd enjoy plunking that into something that way myself, but hey, this is a much smaller knife. Generally, you're not going to be using reverse hammer grip tactical style things with a knife like this, but it works out quite well. This one's in 14C 28N, and for what it's worth, I will mention that this one was a little bit more difficult for me to reprofile to my 17 degree preferred thing, as opposed to a lot of other Tucsons that I've had quite a bit of experience with the 14C. But I also know that these ones do perform really well, so I'm hoping the same for this. I just imagine it's probably heat treated maybe one or two HRC higher than I'm used to. And yeah, I could probably say that that's most likely going to be the case, because that's what ends up happening with a lot of Boker knives that I end up getting. But yeah, the reverse pocket clip on here, nothing to really write home about, but it certainly does work. It's easy enough to get it in and out of the pocket there. And because this thing's relatively thin and all of that, it doesn't bother me as much as a lot of other folded over clips end up doing, so works out all right. Yeah, I definitely like this one a lot more than I thought I would. The action on it wasn't great at all out of the box, but after doing my usual tune-up of cleaning everything out and using some KPL and getting the detent tuned and everything, yeah, it works out super, super nice. The other one here, which was one that I stumbled on when I was looking for this, due to Stella's knife addiction actually turned me on to taking a look at this in general, because I wasn't super aware of Tiguass doing a lot of other designs, but hey, he did. And this was another one of them. This is a CMB Designs. I think this is called the Kisame. And yes, this is another front flipper, but not so much a top flipper in this particular case. So I can open this guy up here. This one's got a stonewash blade on it, and it's in K110 steel, which is D2, except for Bowler made it rather than it just being the generic recipe for it. This one, both of these I got off of White Mountain Knives. This one was actually a return, which was one of the reasons why it kind of intrigued me. The lockup on it, they said, was less than 10%. And I can confirm it was a really, really early lockup. And I've kind of fixed that a little bit, kind of tuned that so it's a little bit more, I don't know, I would call that 35 to 40% or so. Just makes me feel a little bit more secure in there. And this thing is obviously micarta. Actually does have a nice bit of texture going on to it. And interestingly, it also has a micarta backspacer. It's got another folded over clip. It's interesting because the material to my eyes kind of looks like titanium, but I'm honestly not sure. I couldn't really imagine that they would. Not that it's not possible, but you really don't see folded over deep carry-ish clips made out of titanium that aren't milled. Not very often, at least. This one also, I can get all 4 fingers on. So, hooray! We got another one that works out super, super nice. We have basically a satinish horizontal satin finish going on the flats, but that nice stone wash, and it's really, really nice stone wash on the edges here. And I have not quite put my my own edge on there. I do have all right, I'll say this. I have started that sharpening process by actually establishing the profile there on my work sharp thing. So it's got a convex edge on it at the moment. It's still, very, very nice and slicey, but I do like the cutting geometry of a nice V-shaped edge. Just slices through some materials just a little bit better, in my opinion. So I will end up finishing that up elsewise. The action on this thing is okay. Nothing super crazy to write home about. I can definitely feel some things in there. And actually, when I disassembled this thing to clean it out, looks like there are a couple of strange divot marks where the bearings actually ride on this thing in particular. And I can kind of feel that. moving the blade around a little bit there. So, you know, it's not absolutely crazy, but this is also a fairly budget knife for CMB knives. Usually they do much more expensive pieces, but hey, I think I got a hold of this one for somewhere in the 40s. I don't remember. Probably high 40s. But yeah, it was still interesting, and I wanted to check out something else from Tiguass, so I did. This one's got a little bit of a harpoon here in the front. It's a little too far back for me to try to use that as a bit of an indexing for a utility cut. But if you have smaller hands, it's probably more appropriate for you than something that generally has that harpoon thing much further out. That being said, you know, I can still grab over that to lay it down on the palm and do some table cuts and things like that. Works out super nice. No lockbar access on here. It's scalloped a little bit on the show side. Not exactly the easiest thing for me to get in there to close, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking of trying to basically carve myself out a little bit of a lockbar access there. Whereas on the Kubey, we can see we definitely do have lockbar access going on there. It's a pretty interesting kind of look on the inside there, where the flipper ends up coming to curves into this lock bar. So the lock bar here on the front isn't super crazy thick before it splits. But yeah, they're pretty interesting knives. Overall, I still think by far and away my favorite is from Tiguass so far that I've held is the TS211. This thing is just a fantastic knife. You know, nice and big, chunky frame lock, marble carbon fiber, 14C28N, which I'm happy enough with for the most part. Yeah, things very comfortable. You can get a relaxed saber grip going on there. You can choke up a little bit more and also do that hammer grip. Works out great. Obviously, it's a lot larger, so it works better for my hands if I'm doing a lot of heavier use. I do wish that the detent was a little bit sooner on this one. But other than that, I absolutely love this thing. And this thing was the reason why I was interested in these two, because this one it was smaller than I thought it was going to be when I first got it. But for it still being a bit smaller knife, I thought he did a really good job of making it comfortable for larger hands. And I'm glad that both of these still end up that way too. So I do have another couple of options for, you know, some very nice thin carry that I can still get a lot of really good work done with too. So happy to have these in my collection. I just kind of wanted to do a little quick look at them because I got them in the mail along with the Spyderco Resilience, which I just did a video on. So, all right, that's basically all I wanted to cover here. Was just the Kubey Mizo and the CMB Kisame, or Kisame. So, yep, as always, I appreciate y'all for watching, and have yourself a wonderful rest of your day, yo. Tough guy.